please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Mildly in the red for the benchmark indices as we speak. Coal India, which was steadily declining for the last 6 days, has attempted a bit of a bounce back. Let's get that up for you on your screen. Coal India is currently higher by close to about 8.5%, moving quite rapidly. And in the mid-cap space, Nigel was talking about Mindtree, and there the runaway rally continues. So adding on another 3.5%. And PSUs in general are doing well. So it's not just MMTC on the back of the bonus issue. Hindustan Copper, Shipping Corporation of India, across the board, a couple of these low float PSUs are doing quite well. Let's invite Ashwani Gujral and Rajat Bose to the show now. Hi Ashwani. It looks like we're trying to climb higher in the last few minutes. In fact, the Bank Nifty as we speak is just managing to put its head in the green territory.
See, what's clear from today's and yesterday's market is that the guy who's short is not getting a lot of purchase. So that means we could have an outcome which is very similar to yesterday, which means that by the end of the day, people would tend to cover their shorts. So while it's a choppy day, and it's choppy, why? Because the retail facing and the corporate facing banks are going in opposite directions. So that does not help the Bank Nifty a whole lot. So people need to probably keep their volumes low, etc., because the moves may not be as large as yesterday. But I am at the moment long on Bank Nifty because of the downside. We found a fairly strong support. So if you don't want to trade the index, I think JSW Steel is a sell with a stop of 302, target of 287. Hexaware Technologies, that's a sell with a stop of 390, target of 375. And Ashok Leyland is a buy with a stop of 147, target of 162. The other thing is that today's dip has not gone as far down as yesterday's dip. So the buying is also coming in at higher and higher levels. So that's a positive. That would mean that at some point, once we break the ceiling of about 10,450, a sharper rally could happen. So both on these accounts, I think long positions could be viable for the second half.
All right, fasten your seatbelts then. Maybe second half of trade could be better, and once you take out those resistance levels, then in fact you could even move higher. Keep an eye out on a couple of stocks in the broader markets, though. Not the best in quality, but if you pull up something like 63 Moons, I don't know whether there is some news flow, but suddenly that stock that was trading more or less flattish is up close to 8%. So let's get that one as well up for you on the screen. And as Rima pointed out, some of these other stocks, with MMTC moving higher, you have in Hindustan Copper that's suddenly moving higher. It's moving on very, very high volumes. We'll track the delivery of these stocks. MMTC now locked in upper circuit, so just keep an eye out on a couple of these stocks. They'll be considering a bonus in the next couple of days. But Rajat, coming across to you, what are the stocks you have for us today?
I have 2 buy calls and 1 sell call. First one is Mindtree. I would put a stop loss below 812. Targets are 830 and 836. Mindtree can even go higher. And Bharat Financial is another buy. 1057 is my stop loss. 1074 and 1081 are the 2 targets for Bharat Financial. It is also showing traction in today's session. Few minutes back it was attracting good amount of buying even in the futures segment. And finally, Godrej Consumer Products is a sell. Stop loss above 1083. 1067 and 1061 are the 2 targets for Godrej CP.
And a bit of a pullback from the low point of the day, so pretty good going. The Nifty, in fact, holding very close towards the 10,400 mark. Ashwani said that maybe we could have a rather good second half of trade, and once we take out the 10,450 mark, then in fact we could see a bit of a rally from there as well. But the next company on our radar is Havells. Remember, that company has partnered with Hyundai Electric to manufacture magnetic contractors. To understand how will this impact their business going forward, we are now joined by Mr. Amit Gupta, the director of Havells India, who joins us. Well, Amit, your press release says that the market size of magnetic contractors is around what, 1,200 crores? You plan to gain around 8% market share. Safe to assume that around 100 crores will be added to your top line going forward?
So, like I mentioned, industrial switchgear is a very core business for us, because that's where the whole industrial business starts, and that's where the company gets all the benefit and gets connection to increase the business from there on for other product categories also. So that business right now is around 250 crores, and we are hoping to increase by around 20-25% compounded every year for the next 4 to 5 years. So you can say approximately anywhere from 40 to 50 crores every year should be the growth for this.
Okay. What about the capital investment which will be involved? Would this tie-up involving setting up any new manufacturing facilities?
No, so this would, we already have the factory and the building there, but for this particular product, we would have to put up new production lines and new tools and etc. And it would entail an investment of close to $10 million.
Oh, interesting then. How do you fund this capex? Are you taking any debt?
No, it would be all through internal accruals.
Okay. Let's get back to the company's, business and financials. Okay, before that, sorry. If you could just talk about the pace in your switchgear business. That was a bit muted. Have things improved over there, and how does FY19 look? The recent IIP data suggested a bit of an uptick.
So, switchgear business has not been growing at a very fast pace for the last couple of years because of multiple reasons. The construction activity and the industrial activity in the country right now is on one of the lowest ebbs, but still the growth continues to happen, but it's on the lower side of the business. But we do hope that the future going forward should be much better.
All right, Amit, for the 9 months, your revenue growth has been 20-25%. Do you see a company, ending the year with a growth of say 25% plus?
No, I think overall Havells is not 20-25%. It is around mid-teens. That too adjusted for GST, so it is like-to-like growth of around 14 to 15%, which is a blend of all the various product categories which we have. As far as the switchgear is concerned, it is in the I think the high single-digit kind of growth rate right now for this particular fiscal.
Okay, so overall revenue growth seen at 14 to 15% for FY18. Amit, what about FY19? Will the situation be a little better?
That would be too early to comment on the FY19 numbers for switchgear, but we do hope that the growth rate should be better than the current year.
All right, and how do things look for FY19?
So already Havells margins are pretty decent in the business. We do close to 14% of margins, and we do hope to maintain that, and any growth going forward is going to be more from the efficiency of doing business, which is going to take its own time. So whether it is automation in the factories or whether it is getting the whole sales operation more efficient, it is time consuming, but slowly the margins should be creeping up. We don't see the margins going down at all.
Okay, good to know that margins inching up. What about the Lloyd business? So far it's done better than, better than expected, let me put it at that. Now with summer around the corner and it's already getting so hot, what should the numbers look like for Lloyd?
Well, I think everybody is expecting the summer to be much hotter this year, and the whole industry is hoping to have better numbers, but for us this is the first summer for Lloyd, so we need to test out whether the summer really results in higher numbers to that extent. But of course this is the big season for Lloyd, and we are all geared up to meet up the demands and increase our numbers from last year.
Amit, let's take that point forward. Can you tell us what's Lloyd's market share currently in the AC business, and what's the target going ahead?
So right now Lloyd is around 12% of the market, and our focus is to grow the business, not necessarily the market share to that extent, but increase the perception of Lloyd brand going forward. So we have a long-term sustainable growth, and market share gains rather than looking at immediate jumps in that.
On your screen, you can see Chanda Kochar. Remember, ICICI Securities, which is the brokerage arm of ICICI Bank, that is opening up its issue. It's going to be a 4,000 crore issue, but in which ICICI Bank, which has a 100% stake, will pare down 24% stake and raise that 4,000 crore rupees, which will boost the balance sheet of ICICI Bank. ICICI Securities will be the third IPO from ICICI Bank stable after ICICI Pru as well as ICICI Lombard. So it will boost the company's financials. So those are live visuals of that. The issue will be opening in a couple of days. But back to talking about markets as well as individual companies, it's Bharat Forge which is on our radar. The growth engines has got a boost after the January IIP rose higher than expected at 7.5%. We had spoken exclusively to Baba Kalyani, the CMD of Bharat Forge, earlier today on the demand, the volume outlook going ahead. Listen in to what he had to say.
Most of us who are in the manufacturing business, either connected with infrastructure products or connected with automotive, are seeing a huge bump up in demand, creating the necessity to expand capacities. And I think a big capex cycle is beginning to start, at least in these sectors. For the first time, we are seeing capacities running full up, demand increasing beyond what we had planned for, and therefore a need for a lot of new capacities. If you look at the automotive sector, take medium and heavy trucks for example, you're seeing almost 20 to 30% growth every quarter compared to last quarter in this business. The defense business is shaping up reasonably well. Although I must admit we haven't seen any big orders, and that's something that we are hoping for to happen. But we are beginning to see business trickle in. So you will see a much larger amount of revenue coming from our defense business. On BML, I haven't heard anything new in the last couple of weeks. So I presume it's kind of status quo where it was a few weeks ago. I guess we will hear about it only after the elections. I think the volumes are going to get significantly higher, and I think for those volumes we definitely have to add capacity. We are now putting up new facilities for enhanced output, and that will overall increase our leverage and bottom line. In India, because of our peculiar circumstances of the business model of running a truck, more and more trucks are coming with 2 axles in the front. So it's almost like supplying to 2 trucks. And that's how the components are increasing at a dramatic pace compared to numbers.
Okay, keep an eye out on a couple of stocks in the broader markets. Remember, Bandhan Bank, the IPO opens out there. It's being priced at roughly around 4 times odd. Equitas is one stock that Abhishek has been telling us. Keep an eye out on that one because relatively, that's trading at around 2.5 odd times, so relatively cheaper. And that's why I think the street is taking note of that. It's picking onto that stock. It's moved to the high point of the day. MCX, remember, it's been a rank underperformer actually in the recent past. It's at around 800 rupees, but in today's trading session, it's up close to around 7%. It's moving higher as we speak. And Godfrey Phillips as well, smoking hot. After trading in the red, mid-cap index continues to do a relative outperformance. But as promised, we have Tapan who joins us now to give us a couple of his commodity trading strategies. Hi Tapan, thanks so much for joining in. Well, what do you have for us today?
Hi, good afternoon. First of all, let's talk about bullion prices and 3 factors which are currently pressuring the prices to trade higher, which are the current US political uncertainty and also the Fed uncertainty about the rate hike. Plus, the geopolitical tension between Britain and Russia is also limiting the downside for the gold prices. So we can expect prices to trade firm in the short term, and 1310 can be a good support in a near term. So buying on dips is advisable. So at MCX, if we see 30,400 is a good level to go long with a target of 30,550.
Okay, so that's about gold. What about crude oil prices?
Yeah, if we talk about crude, prices are trading very flat in last couple of days because the inventory data was there and data came very bearish in last night. So we can expect pressure to mount up in the prices. especially the rising US production level is also pressuring the prices, and we can expect the downside to continue towards $58-59 dollar at WTI. At MCX, we can go short around 3980 for the target of 3910.
All right, and Tapan, I believe you have a strategy even on copper?
Yes, among all base metals, I think copper is very underperforming, and major reason for that is a higher inventory levels at LME. So, rising inventory levels and also weak demand from China, both pressuring the prices to trade lower. We can expect 448 level in the short term. So, selling around 454 is advisable with the stop loss above 457.
Okay, all right. Tapan, thanks so much for joining in and giving us all those strategies. By the way, keep an eye out on a couple of other stocks as well. It seems to be a bit of a mid-cap party that's playing out. Jindal SAW should come up for you. That stock has spiked up in the last few minutes. Sequent Scientific as well. Volumes very, very high over there. So both those two stocks, Jindal SAW as well as Sequent Scientific, both of them, let's get them up for you on the screen. Even something like a Ganesh Benzoplast, that stock saw sharp correction. Now volumes are picking up on that one. That is well moving higher as we speak. So a lot of these mid-cap stocks, they're moving around and they're moving higher on strong volumes.
Let me add some more names.
Yeah.
JP Associates, 17 rupees stock, but JP Associates has surged close to about 7%. Bombay Dyeing is rallying nearly about 5%, picking up in the last 30 minutes. So yes, indeed, you can see it from the index level itself, right? The mid-cap index is higher by 0.6% versus the benchmark indices, which are down in the red.
Okay, all right.